Oh, okay. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? All right, let me answer Facebook real quick. I already tagged you, but it demands I tag you again. Okay, guys. Good evening. First of all, we're about 15 minutes late.
It's my fault because I was fixing my hair. I'm sorry.
No, it's not his fault. I had an event tonight that was really fun, and I got back as quickly as I could, so here we are. But we're here. We're ready to talk about this thing. So this is a more serious topic. It's probably our most serious video ever. Do you think?
Yeah.
Is that light too bright, or is it just me?
I can turn it off. See what happens. You may turn it off and see how it affects it?
It's okay.
Okay.
We'll live.
Disregarding.
We'll live. All right, guys. So tonight we have an amazing topic on autism. So first and foremost, if you have somebody that you know that can benefit from the information, feel free to share this. We make these videos public for that very reason. So this one most especially, if you guys have someone that you feel like can benefit from this information, share it. Click share.
Get off me, woman.
Oh, okay. So now you're officially here. Now you're officially tuned in. And you're the brains of the group here, so...
Now I can see.
So why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Well, there's a couple disclaimers that we need to share before we get too much into the meat and potatoes of the topic. Number one, believe it or not, we are not doctors. We are not registered nurses, paramedics, firefighters, of any type of medical field. This video and its contents is not a one-size-fits-all. Everybody, each person represented in the spectrum or family members of the spectrum is everybody's different. It's like a fingerprint, all right?
Snowflake. That's
or
relevant.
Snowflake.
It's relevant.
Or a snowflake. Our intent with this video is merely to share our experience and our views on autism and our walk with Lani. We do not want to offend anyone by any means, or any family members or relatives or friends of anybody that's on the spectrum. If we do, we're going to apologize ahead of time. Again, these are our views, and this is our journey thus far, 13 years into our parenthood with Lani. I'm nervous about this. Don't touch me.
Are you really? Troy's nervous. Are you really?
Let's not talk about this on camera. Everybody's watching. Yeah, a little bit.
That's unusual.
I don't want to make anybody upset or I mean, this is kind of a personal topic.
It is. Guys, this is a sensitive topic. We put a lot of work into this behind the scenes, just so you know. We want to be very careful about what we say, what we communicate, what we imply. Yes, and I'm pointing at you with my lip gloss.
Right. With that being said, when we talk about the oils or supplements or diets or anything that we're going to speak of this evening, we are going to do our best to be FDA compliant. I understand that you guys may have questions throughout the video. Please jot those down and save those for the end. We definitely, this is why we're sharing this and why we're doing this together, is to share any information that we have or any research that Lani Brooke has done. But we are going to open this up for questions at the end. What's up, Tom?
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Trace. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Don't be nervous. It comes from a good place. And you can't offend someone. Thank you, Tracy. But yeah, he's right. Guys, we're going to do this video a little differently. If you guys watch us every Wednesday at 8:30, that's when we're typically on. We love interacting with you guys and chatting with you guys. But this one, we're going to power through some really intense information, and then we're going to back off and allow some questions in. So if you do have a question, please jot it down like he said and post it at the end. We don't want to miss it. We would love to answer you live versus going back and typing. And also what he said about FDA compliance, a lot of you probably are like, what the heck is that, right? So the Food and Drug Administration does not allow us to talk about anything natural in relation to diagnoses, diseases, injuries, illness, anything like that. The treatment of, the prevention of, we can't talk about any of that kind of stuff. Hey, Damon. So that's what he means when he says FDA compliant. We're going to talk about some things that we do that are more natural alternatives, and we'll explain to you how those work and why we implement those. But we cannot address any kind of diagnosis that includes autism in relation to anything natural. That's just the way it is. You want to start on our that?
Yes.
On our that?
On our, we took notes last night to try to prepare for this, and you know, in jotting information down, I've made a quick outline, and we have it for reference right in front of us. So
we did a lot
Please
of
forgive
work.
me for referring to my reference, but I didn't memorize all this by heart.
You're going to refer to your reference?
Shut up, woman.
It's like a referral reference.
You done?
Oh.
All right. First thing we want to talk about is all the places that we've lived. A lot of the people in
Location matters. I'm going to try not to interrupt you.
It's like the fifth time, so it'd be great. Location. Anyway, with my job, it's been very nice to have the opportunity to
That's true.
transfer around. Our very first transfer from Southern Ohio to Northeast Ohio was an emergency transfer that our agency granted. The topic for this next section is where we have lived. Most generally, why we moved has been because of Lani and her special needs.
Very true.
Her doctor's needs, her family's needs, her social needs, and then anything that we can provide for her better. We have lived in Piketon. We have lived in.
Do you guys know where that's at?
Most of these people better know where it's at. They're my friends.
I saw it on a news station recently. I was like, yo, they put Piketon on the map.
It's like 7 minutes north of Jasper, and Jasper's the center of the world. Everybody knows that.
It's where that... Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Piketon, Warren, and then back here in Central Ohio. Warren in Trumbull County. So
Yeah, Damon knows where Piketon is.
But each time we've moved because of Lani for references of doctors or family care. The neat thing about all the different places that we have lived is the differences in doctors and resources. It's amazing.
Don't settle, guys.
That's it in a nutshell. Don't settle. Keep looking for what is best for your needs. The differences in doctors and resources is amazing. It really is. I mean, and I'm not. Please don't think that I'm trying to downgrade any doctors that we've seen. I'm sure it's based on specialty and experience and whatever else. But go ahead.
When it comes to autism, money matters. I'm just going to say it. Location matters and money matters. So we can live in places like rural Southern Ohio and where I'm from in Northeast Ohio and come across amazing people that have like personal investment in Lani doing well and all the other students they work with or patients they work with. But resources there's always a limit because money matters.
It's also a big deal with where you're at geographically. The resources that we had in Southern Ohio versus Northeast Ohio versus Central Ohio. I mean, depending on what the population is, our opinion and our experience is the more population, the better choice of doctors and the better variety of specialty doctors you're going to have.
That's just the truth, guys.
Again, nothing against Southern Ohio, nothing against Northeast Ohio, just that they just don't have the resources that we needed.
So we love the schools where we're at. That was a huge part of why we moved to where we're at now is the schools. And Lani has had really great teachers over the years, but again, those resources are always going to find a limit just due to funding. So where we're at now, I mean, you can travel as far as doctors are concerned. You can travel for doctors, but schools, you kind of get what you're near. So location really matters.
Even in Central Ohio, we are currently traveling to Indianapolis for a specialist.
Who we're going to talk about.
That we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. But
so we have awesome local doctors, but then we drive out to Indianapolis, which is about 3 hours one way, about every 3 or 4 months.
Well worth it.
Well worth it.
Yep.
She taught us a lot of what we know and what we're going to share tonight.
So the schools have all been good. I have to say nothing against the other schools than the ones that we're in currently, but each individual teacher that was responsible for Lani has been fantastic. Every teacher will always remember you.
Silas, no.
The schools now that we're in, obviously, you know, that she's currently in, and where she's at in her walk and her journey with this fight is where we need to be. Go ahead.
So here's some things that we battle. And like he said, as a lot of you probably know, autism really varies person to person to person to person to person. So this is just what we're battling. Some of you may identify with some of these things, and some of you may be like, we don't have that issue, whatever. So a big thing is sound sensitivity, and we have actually got a good grip on that.
Look, can we elaborate on these just a little bit to kind of give these people an idea?
Absolutely.
These people, meaning my friends and family. Sound. We have a difficult time anytime in the spring through the midwinter to walk outside with Lani because she can't stand the sound of birds.
Birds singing.
Birds,
even if they're not like
nuts.
in our yard.
So
but she's
that's
gotten
an issue.
A lot better.
Yeah, she has. But I mean, can you imagine that, or can you fathom that? I mean, some can, some can't, and it's kind of weird. But this is why we're showing the video, so that those that may be experiencing things like this to reach out and let us help you. Those that aren't and don't want to watch them, go somewhere else. We love you, but this is why we're doing this.
Somewhere else.
I'm just saying. I'm just being straight. And
Get
they
out.
appreciate that. I love everybody on here, but I mean, this is important for us to share, and it's a big reason why Brooke is doing what she's doing with Young Living. We're not going to get into that yet, but we're just saying.
That's true.
So sound change. Go ahead.
Birds, dogs barking, beeping. Oh my gosh!
You guys
if
know
the store had beeping, it was like, just leave. The child can't handle it. So, you know, a lot of sound sensitivities with that kind of stuff. But like I said, we've got a good grip on that now. It's still there, but it's much improved. Change. Actually, a big thing Lani's scared of is the ground under her feet. So she's not a runner, so to speak. She doesn't dart off, thank goodness, because I know a lot of families deal with that, and that has got to be frightening every single day. But Lani's not a runner. She's actually the opposite of a runner, I would say. She literally is scared of the ground under her feet. So if we were to take her out in the snow right now, like we did the other day, after we got that fresh snow, she is very scared to walk in that. She just can't tell. She can't navigate it properly. So like, we are the family that pulls up to drop Lani off at school, and she needs help navigating the curb from the car to the sidewalk. She needs help navigating that curb. So when you see those situations, understand that there are people out there, there are children out there that need help navigating those surfaces and that kind of thing. She's scared to death of it. We're still working on that, actually. And what's some other stuff?
It's funny because we're talking about the ground. When you change from concrete to grass, or when you change from concrete to a curb, when you change from concrete to inside, just to step up, it's all a major effort to traverse over that or through that. So just that one thing. Well, I'm just saying.
That's good.
Change food. If it's in front of her, she'll eat it.
Oh, she used to put everything in her mouth. Guys, she used to have this thing where, I mean, she would chew on stuff. We had to lock her toys up at night. We put a lock on her closet, and her bookshelf was inside her closet, so all of her books were up because it would be like midnight snack. So crazy, right? Like toys, plastic toys, which we'll get to because now we're dealing with things because she chewed on that stuff. That has really, really gotten under control. She really very rarely chews on stuff anymore. All of her toys are out. Her big old bookshelf in her room full of books, no issue. We've gotten that under control. So you're hearing like our struggles, the things that torment Lani, and the things that we really want to battle to get under control for her to improve her quality of life as best as possible, and the improvements that have been made in the things that we're doing.
Significant progress.
Right, yeah. So she does a lot of stimming, which is, if you guys don't know, is like hand flapping, a lot of humming, which is kind of difficult to explain. I won't get too far into it because we really need to move along so that you guys aren't on this video for 2 hours. It'd be very easy to do that. So you can look up what stimming means. But there's a lot of different things they do. It's like self-soothing. So not socially acceptable. That's the big part. So Lani has absolute social delays, very typical of autism. Some academic delays. She's a good reader and stuff, but math does not compute. And then there could be kids that excel in math in school.
She gets that from her dad.
No. It does not. She doesn't understand. It doesn't. It just doesn't click. Again, not going to get too far into it. So she's on an extensive IEP. She used to be on a behavioral intervention plan, meaning when she got mad, she's never really hit, but she would push with her elbow and stuff. She never hurt anyone. Thank goodness. Again, Lani's just a really sweet kid. But definitely like the push with the elbow and stuff, squealing when she's upset. So she used to be on a behavioral intervention plan. I am proud to announce that her intervention specialist this year said she can't even imagine Lani doing those things that were on the intervention plan, behavioral intervention plan. So huge progress. Let's move on.
Behavioral, teen versus autism. It's kind of I guess an odd thing.
What's another thing?
It's kind of an odd thing with the behavioral. Took a note for behavioral. It says teen versus autism. Lani just turned 13, and kids will be kids will be kids. It's difficult, but not so difficult when you know them. How to separate the autistic mannerisms from a typical teen and throwing a fit or being stubborn or rebellious or whatever. But I mean, just having that option to have to look at that and to analyze it, it sucks. Just saying. But it's definitely something that's there, and it's if you see somebody in a grocery store or in a store and you see a kid acting up, obviously it brings attention and it's kind of embarrassing to you're stuck in the middle because you're right there. But in your mind,
that's tough.
In your mind, just play what if just for a second, and maybe that little one can't help it, and maybe the parents doing the best they can. So this is why we're doing the video and little stuff like this to kind of make you aware.
Guys, I turned judgment off a long time ago. And what I mean by that is the stares. The stares. When you have a kid that has special needs and they do things that aren't socially acceptable, and they get upset about things that are bizarre to get upset about. I can't leave the house right now with the TV off. I have to leave the TV on. She can't stand it. She won't walk out the door. The TV has to stay on. But when you translate that over into social, I shouldn't even say just public places like the store and that kind of thing, she's going to attract looks. And I turned that off I don't care. You can look at me all day. But there are going to be people that...
So how many times have I embarrassed you in a store where I've fronted somebody out for their stares?
Yeah, he doesn't handle it as well. As a matter of fact, we had a guy that came up and apologized to us. And I felt so bad for this guy because he was legitimately sorry, and Troy still gave him a hard time because Troy was so ticked. I'm like, dude, he was sincerely sorry. You had an opportunity there. I gave Troy a hard time over that. Who's with me?
It just aggravates me. I mean, it's your daughter,
it does,
it's your little girl,
but
you're trying to be defensive.
He actually seemed like a really sweet guy,
no,
and he
sweet
felt
or not,
bad.
he's being an ass. I'm sorry.
Poor guy.
Man, I don't do well with that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so perfect example, right? So, yeah. Oh, gosh. We could talk about that, too.
Yes.
Moving on. So just talking about, the behavioral versus teen stuff. It's tough. So if you guys don't know, Lani just turned 13. So we have a lot of...
Thank you, Tracy.
a lot of, teenage attitude and that kind of thing. And it's what's autism, what's teen attitude? And so we pride ourselves in being able to tell the difference between those two things. It's tough though, so we definitely discipline Lani and we let her know, but it's tough. So anyway, we ended up moving back down to Columbus. If you guys don't know my history, we both were engulfed in careers, significant careers, which he is still in, and I left my career.
Brooke was a trooper for 8 years. I still am. I mean,
thank you.
I'm just saying, she was an excellent trooper, an excellent crash investigator. and she chose to give that part of her life up for Lonnie and I, especially Lonnie, not nearly me, because
I did it for our family.
Yeah, it was family.
Took me a couple years to get the guts. It really sucked, but I haven't regretted it not one time.
So with that being said, you guys can imagine both of us being in law enforcement and on different shifts and
Shift
playing
work,
the high five game. You're
plus a special needs child.
You know, you just worked 9 hours, but guess what? You're in charge of the house until I get back, and then this is, vice versa. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off topic, but I wanted to make sure and give you credit for 8 hard years of doing what a lot of people can't.
Thank you.
So, and still being a mother of a special needs child.
Thank you.
And having another kid to deal with as well.
That's probably a whole video in and of itself.
Anyway, moving to Columbus.
But we moved to Columbus because I was going to get back into work while just in the hours Lani was in school, but not obviously on the road, guys. Like just a cushy state position somewhere. In Columbus being the hub of state positions, that was a big, there was a few reasons we moved down. Definitely resources and stuff. We felt pulled down here, and what a blessing it's been. Like, the doors that have been opened and the resources are literally priceless. That's when we talk about location matters. Don't settle for subpar doctors. Don't settle for just so-so schools. And you can have amazing people in those schools, guys. Don't get me wrong. You can have amazing nurses, amazing doctors, but they could be limited. Or you can just have bad doctors and bad teachers, and you need to move.
Thanks, Taylor.
Cool. So in Columbus, we have obviously a lot of doctors here. We got hooked up in the autism community pretty quickly here, which, again, another blessing. There's a very supportive autism community around here, which a lot of areas don't have either. This video isn't about, hey, everybody should move to Columbus. But what I'm saying is, if that's not in your area, maybe start it in your area, because it's valuable. So he ended up stumbling across essential oils. So we started implementing essential oils right away. And we were closet users for 2 months. And so we started trying some natural alternatives and that kind of thing. And things that help with sleep. Oh, with sleep. Guys, I didn't even mention the sleep issues.
No, we didn't even put that in there. That could be a whole page.
That just tensed my neck up. Sleep issues, focus, concentration, energy, support for us, those kinds of things. We support all of that stuff. And so we started dabbling in that. And what's really cool is when we started dabbling with essential oils and natural alternatives through Young Living. Young Living has amazing resources. We hooked up with amazing people, and it led to even more information. And so all of these avenues and doors opened. It's been like a whirlwind. We've been down here for 3 years now, and it's just nonstop information, and it's made all the difference. So what else? Let's see. So we
talked about school systems a pretty good amount. We're going to talk about the open doors. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's tons of information out there.
Thanks, George.
And as we get into some of the things that we've done, he already said this, I'm going to reiterate it. Everybody's different. Things that work for us may not work for you. And I want you guys to know as well that we had so much trial and error. We have things, we have to document everything. If you guys could see, I might even show you guys what we do at the end of this video. Kind of want to. Let me know if you want to actually see what we do. But there's so much stuff that we have done that has been very intrusive, invasive maybe is a better word for it.
Sleep studies, diets.
Oh, the diets.
EEGs.
Lengthy, demanding.
At least 20 to 25 doctors, if not more.
And guess what? Some of the stuff we did didn't work. Didn't work.
Yep.
But it's so much trial and error, and that's what I wanted to communicate to you guys. So there's so many different things that you can do, that you can try, that you can see. But what we do know about autism is that we don't know a lot. And what I mean by that is every person is different. There are things that you're going to respond to that the other person with autism wouldn't. okay, honey. And it's multi-layered. And right now, like, this is for real life. My daughter needs me to go help her in the bathroom. So he's going to take over. There you go. That's how we roll. I'll be back. Good luck.
Thank you, Amber. I'll get to that in more detail in a little bit, but there's been several. The SCD diet, which is the basically a carbohydrate diet, with mostly gluten-free, casein-free, all that good stuff. We've tried so many, and I'll try to get with you a little bit later to elaborate on that. What I want to hit on while she's not here, and I'm sure she'll bring it up later, is this. Some of you are curious about where exactly Lani is at on the spectrum, and the spectrum is like a big scale. All right, so Lani would be, SCD did help Amber, and I promise I'll get back to that in a little bit. I'll remember. As far as on the spectrum, Lani is moderate to high functioning, which means she is verbal and she is able to do a lot of things on her own, as far as eating and limited getting dressed, and some personal hygiene issues we're still working on, but she's definitely able to do a little bit. Moderate to high functioning. There are so many that we know, and I know some of my friends on here, some of Brooke's friends on here, people that are watching, have people that are more severe, to where they're limited on what they can do, verbal or communication or whatever physically, and then some people may be higher on the spectrum, even to the point of being what's called, oh boy, here you're looking for words. I'll think of it in a minute. Asperger's. That's the high end, the very highest end of autism. And I don't want to describe my own version or my own definition of that. You're welcome to look it up or research it online to get a better view of it. But again, if you're curious and if you're wondering where Lani's at on the spectrum, please forgive my wife. She's a ham. Lani's moderate to high functioning. I was just trying to tell them about where she was at on the spectrum.
Oh yeah, good call. Yeah, so, we should have talked about that. She was right in the middle of the spectrum. Well,
when she was first diagnosed, they said moderate to high functioning, correct?
No, they said middle of the spectrum. So that was Dr. Kalavsky in Akron.
I said corrected.
Remember very specifically.
All right.
We thought she had regression. That's what you're thinking. She did have regression over the years. Okay. And again, boy, guys, if we really got into this, so what I would love to do is if you guys have specific questions on this, let's connect one-on-one.
Yeah, Amber Rogers, make sure and remember her a minute ago. She was asking some specific diets in that SCD diet, so we'll get with her in a little bit.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
But yes, so she is technically middle of the spectrum, but she did have regression. So she started out like, what's going on? High functioning maybe, and then we just had regression over about a 2.5 year period where she stopped at about midway in the spectrum. Where'd you leave off? Environmental.
We're starting on a new topic. We were talking about moving to Columbus and everything that was available to us. We're going to go to a new topic called environmental toxins. This is one where I'm going to kind of sit back, and if she asks me anything or refers to me, then I'll definitely be able to jump in there. But this one is probably ought to take some notes if you're wondering about what's in your house.
We's about to get intense, y'all.
So we got to be a little bit brief. So we're already a half hour into it.
Do you see, guys? Okay, we're going to power through this real quick. One thing, okay, so you guys know that we go to we'll just call her an autism specialist. So she's a phenomenal doctor in Indianapolis. And one thing that she has told us that the best doctors in the world on autism know is environmental toxins it's bioaccumulation. So what that means is over generation and generation and generation. What my great grandparents did is affecting Lani. So it's that piling up of toxins that is causing a lot of the issues that we have. So you can have, genetic issues, digestive issues, neurological issues. These are things that people with autism are up against. And so much of it is being linked to environmental toxins, hence why I do what I do. So I love. That's why I had this passion. I had to break the Troy one day that I want to do Young Living for a living. because I get to actually go out and tell the world that there's better ways and protect your families and look at this as an investment in your future and in your children's future. Your kids are healthy? Awesome. I want their kids to be healthy too. And so we have to really pay attention to this stuff we're using, the stuff we're putting on our bodies, the stuff that's all around us, the stuff in our house, the household products, the personal care products, blah, 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 blah. Like it goes on and on and on and on and on. And we are not people that are like, right now you need to clean out your house and exchange everything. Just slowly, over time. What the heck? Somebody wants attention. He never gets up on the couch. What are you doing?
Anyway.
He got in trouble. So all of that stuff is why word needs out. Like people need to know what's going on, right? So it's not only like the bioaccumulation of environmental toxins, but diet matters, right? Because there's a lot of toxins in the stuff that we eat. So diet matters. Toxic household products, personal care products. Guys, look into these things, okay? Because when you're using these things over and over and over and over and over and over and over, they are absolutely being absorbed in your body. And some of these things that we're so used to using on a daily basis and we don't think twice about, when you actually look at what the EPA will say on some of these harsh chemicals, like the toxic chemicals, it's like, how is this in my house? But we've just learned to accept it as a society. And so that's why I have the passion of what I do, which is going out and telling people, you don't have to do that. This doesn't cost any more, and it's way better, and it adds this, 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 and this.
That's right, Luke.
Right, yeah.
Real quick,
Luke
just
knows.
so you know, I've got, these are actually at my work, and my maintenance worker uses them, and so does my secretary. But
what?
I can't say.
Oh.
I could say. Can I say?
I don't know why you can't say.
Lysol wipes. If you look at Lysol wipes, it says to wipe down the surface.
What?
So, yeah.
You're using those at work?
Yeah, I'm not. They are. But if it'll say right on the bottle.
Not anymore.
It will say right on the bottle that if you use and wipe down the surface, to make sure and use a soapy or a wet cloth to wipe off what you just wiped it off with, because it's dangerous.
The chemical that they use in those, of course, we're talking about man-made, harsh, toxic chemicals that they use in Lysol wipes. You're actually supposed to wipe off a surface, let it dry for 4 minutes, and then go back and wash off all that stuff you just put on there before you let your skin touch it. How many of your kids' schools are using Lysol wipes? A lot of times they're on the list of what you need to get for your child before they even start school, right? First day of school, stock up on Lysol wipes. Do you think that the teacher, no hate against teachers, but they don't know generally. Do you think that the teacher is wiping off that surface, letting it dry for 4 minutes and wiping it off again? No. It's wipe it off, kids go touch it, put their arms on those wet surfaces, and now they're absorbing all those funky carcinogens, y'all. Carcinogens. It ain't no joke, this stuff. So this is why one thing at a time, we can move that stuff out. And for us, that's made a huge difference. That's what's so interesting about all this. So were you going to say something?
I'm just going to get back on topic. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, I was going to go to that.
Yeah, you mentioned briefly about the three kind of
I did.
Topics or not topics, but causes of autism are going to be genetic, neurological, and digestive. So, we as a family have tried to test each one of these to see what in the world's causing Lani to be the way she is, and so forth and so on. And we had a doctor tell us once, I think I'm going to get corrected from this, but hopefully I'm saying it right. We had a doctor tell us once that if we want to know exactly why Lani was the way she was, we could spend $1 million and find out exactly why. Did he not say that, Dr. Mike?
That doctor, no, that was a different doctor. Okay. I'm not going to call him out because he was outrageously wrong. Okay. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. Like, if you get, why did I go out of focus? Because I moved.
Just move your cake.
You guys can really look at some things. I'm not trying to badmouth any doctors or anything, but I'm just telling you straight up, we have got bad information. We have had doctors throw their hands up, they couldn't care any less. Please don't feel like you have to settle for that. And I tell people that a lot because we've been those people that we just thought, well, somebody recommended them, so they're supposed to be really good. But yet they haven't really told me anything at all. Why are they good? So the doctor that told us that, he was talking about genetic testing, which is what we're getting into next. He told us you could have genetic testing done, but insurance doesn't cover it and it doesn't tell you anything. Wrong. Times a million. We moved to Columbus, we get a new pediatrician down here, and they say, did you get the genetic testing done? And I told them what I was told by a neurologist. And they said, who told you that? That's outrageous. The first thing you do, you get autism diagnosis, you get genetic testing. That's what you do. And insurance covers it. We paid $100 and it was like several $1,000 testing. It's a whole thing. Anyway, the point is, we got that genetic testing done and it told us a ton. So when you get genetic testing done, you're gonna look at things like celiac, which is gluten sensitivity. Actually, celiac is like a full-blown allergy, I think. MTHFR, which is some issues with B vitamins. Fragile X, which is a genetic mutation, I believe. Other genetic mutations. Lani does have a genetic mutation. It's a chromosome deletion. It doesn't equal autism, but it's oftentimes associated, or it's oftentimes found in people with autism, but it doesn't equal autism. Okay, but it's a piece of the puzzle. And everything you do with this is just another tiny piece of the puzzle. Guys, it's so multi-layered. In my experience, somebody watching this may disagree with this, but in my experience, there's no one thing that causes autism. Lani's 13 now. So we've had a good amount of time to research this stuff. It's extremely multi-layered and it's different for everyone. And so there's no one thing. My daughter didn't wake up one day autistic. She had regression, yes. And there are people that have some like vaccine injuries and stuff. That's not our testimony. That's devastating and I'm not going to get into it. There's a lot of really sad stories out there that break my heart. But that's not our testimony. We just had slow regression over about 2.5 years, from the age of 2.5 to around 4.5, 5, I would say, was our significant regression. So there's a lot of different things that come into play. With genetic testing, there's definitely like genetic mutations that cause sensitivities to sulfur, which is important because a lot of supplements have sulfur in them. I was just talking to someone about bath salts, Epsom salts having sulfur in them and things like that. You have to be aware of that with your child. So Lani also had an abnormal EEG. So we did an EEG on her mainly for the purpose of her sleep issues.
So what is an EEG?
Oh, what does that stand for?
Well, I'm just saying, what's the purpose of running one?
Well, the EEG it's basically monitoring the brain activity to see what's happening. And because a high percentage of people with autism have epilepsy, right? So we had to do the EEG to see what's going on in the brain. And while Lani doesn't have epilepsy, she doesn't have seizures specifically. In the left front part of her brain, she does have a slowing, and then it speeds up, and then it slows, and it speeds up, but they're not long enough to be considered seizures. However, you could look at her as being high risk for epilepsy because of that, and a lot of times that happens around the age of puberty. So there's a lot you have to pay attention to, guys. Like, it's like intense.
Thank you, Jeff. That's
exactly
right.
Look at Jeff. Hey. Thank you, Jeff. Did you have to Google that?
No, he didn't.
No, he's pretty smart. He knew.
He probably knew how to spell it too. Sam Cydrus, you just posted something there, and I'm not going to get into what you posted because we'll see it in a little bit. Prayers going up for you. That's not typical for her age. If you have questions, please feel free to call or text or get with us whenever you leave the doctor tomorrow. It's an important appointment. Okay. So again, prayers going up for you. Just let us know if you need anything or if there's anything we can do to help you research. There are lots of different resources here, and with you being where you're at in South Central Ohio, shouldn't be a whole lot of problem for you to get up here and take care of it.
So when you guys get genetic testing done, It's going to point you in the direction of which supplements are going to be beneficial. Of course, you get blood work and things. A lot of times, people with autism and our kids with autism have vitamin deficiencies. Things are out of whack. Man, when we first looked at this with Lani, she was like all over the place with different deficiencies. Like her numbers were all over the place. Her hormones, Lani's hormones have been out of whack her entire life. What's happening? Like, why? And the doctors all throw their hands up at it. Guys, we just don't know enough yet. But I do know that I can naturally support her body and support those hormones so that they balance naturally and her body functions properly. And that's what this is all about. So when we talk about supplements, when you provide nutrition for your body, proper nutrition for your body, and when you provide it with what it needs and you begin to balance things out through that nutrition, then your body works properly.
And this is a great example of the one thing that causes autism. You know, we talked about genetic, we talked about neurological, and we talked about digestive. If you're giving them the nutrients and their diet that they need, and it's based on the digestive system, you would not believe the improvements that you're going to see. I'm just saying, it is what it is.
Right.
So that the diet is definitely going to be beneficial for those.
Diet almost has to be a part of this, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what you got?
And that's tough. That's a tough thing.
Yeah.
So diet actually is next. So common sensitivities are gluten, dairy, casein, dairy and casein, sugars, grains, certain carbs are really hard for our bodies to break down. So he was talking briefly about, we did the SCD diet for a while. We've done gluten-free on and off, and now we've established officially that Lani definitely has a negative response to gluten in particular. We've tried on and off keeping her away from dairy for really long periods of time, then re-implementing it, and we notice no change either way. So she surprisingly handles dairy very well. It's very common for people with autism to have dairy sensitivities. Very common. So it's a thing to try. Lani is, her celiac testing, for when we did her genetic testing, she came back 50% chance of developing celiac. So she's definitely high risk for celiac. You just don't give her gluten, she won't develop that allergy, right? So, but we realized that she doesn't handle it well anyway. So we did try totally sugar-free, and that means, guys, never do artificial sugars. Probably don't need to tell most of you that, but they are really, really bad. So if you can substitute, I mean, cane sugar is not great, don't get me wrong, but we have done straight honey as sweetener, local raw honey as sweetener. We get the big things of it.
It's expensive.
Because it's the only sweetener we would use.
Yeah, but you know, you think wellness is expensive, try illness.
Yeah, that's true. It's well worth it. But what I will say is those really strict diets, we didn't have a huge response with Lani. And they're very, very invasive. Like, it takes over your life. All I'm doing is cooking constantly. Right? Homemade chips and stuff.
Good stuff.
Every day, because Lani loves chips. So anyway, so all of that stuff is very, very intense, and there's just so much trial and error. We determined, like I said, our autism specialist doctor determined, like he said, what she told us was there's basically 3 things that autism is in connection to: digestive system, neurological system, or it's genetic. And a lot of times when it's overly genetic, the doctors unfortunately can't do a whole lot, which is heartbreaking for everyone involved. But when we can connect it to the digestive system, to the neurological system, maybe both, we can help them. And what I mean by help them is I already told you guys a list of things that torment Lani. I won't settle for those things tormenting her. I refuse to accept that she can't walk outside because the birds are ear piercing to her. There's got to be something I can do, and there is, and we've made improvements. The child doesn't want to wake up at 2 in the morning and be up for 2 hours. She wants to sleep through the night like the rest of us do, right? There's got to be something I can do to help her on that. So that's what I mean when we say beating autism. Yeah, We're freaking beating it down. That's what that means, because I'm not going to accept that for her. So that was my rant. So we do a lot of oils. Oils can provide immune system support. They can provide neurological focus, concentration, stress relief. Guys, how many of these people and these children have meltdowns, you know, and it's overstimulation, and it's true, authentic, heartbreaking stress. What can we do? We can sniff some oils and stuff, and they help us calm down, right? They help the atmosphere around us to be calm, and we just support our bodies naturally with that kind of stuff, right? And so there's a lot of trial and error. If something calms me down, might not work on him. He might have another one he prefers. Same thing with our kids. So there's a lot of trial and error with all this stuff, and it just takes time, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. So Lani right now is going through heavy metal testing. We just did heavy metal testing. We had to do a very strict diet to clean her system out. It's difficult to get an accurate read on the metals we're carrying in our body without totally like cleaning our system out. So we did that. We were extremely strict for several months, and then we were able to do urinalysis on Lani, and she came back toxic levels of mercury, very high mercury, and off the charts on lead. So she has both of those heavy metal poisonings right now. Because you guys are going to ask this, I'll just go ahead and let you know. The lead poisoning, we believe, is due to, remember earlier in this video, she chews on everything. The little plastic toys like figurines and things from China. Yeah, lead paint, guys. She was chewing on lead constantly. We were always taking stuff from her. And again, she doesn't do this anymore. Huge improvements, huge progress in that area. But we believe, the doctor believes, that's most likely where she got lead. It can be in our water. It can be in our soil and those kinds of things. And to be able to get a water filter to get a lot of that stuff out is important as well. And for the mercury, real simple for my doctor. She asked me one question.
Do you have fillings?
That simple. The mercury in my fillings that I got as a child was transferred to my daughter, period. Now, when you have genetic mutations and things, there are certain people with genetic mutations that can't process things the way that we can. I have the mercury in my body. How don't I have mercury poisoning, right? It's because my body, due to genetics, which we know this much about, this much, guys, and they will tell geneticists, we've met with geneticists, they're like, sorry, we don't know much about this yet, but we're learning every day. They will tell you straight up that we just don't know enough yet. So what we, like the generic version, the generic thing to say, I guess, is that I don't have a genetic mutation that causes me to hold on to those things.
You can discrete them from your body.
Yeah.
Excrete them from your body.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
with Lani's results being, you know, heavy and those those metals, we're going through something called chelation. Chelation is a pain and is expensive and is unbelievable how good it works. You can give them the results from the because we did.
Chelation is tough, guys.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of negative talk about chelation because it can be so hard on our bodies. And so again, trial and error. There's different ways, there's different avenues when it comes to chelation. Lani just takes an oral pill a couple times a week, and it helps it flushes her system. With that, pulling all those metals out, you know, she's getting little bits every time, little bits. She's going to be doing this for a couple years. She gets little bits every time, but with that little bits of heavy metals goes all the good, all the minerals and all that stuff. So she's on heavy multivitamin. She's on Ninja Red. If you guys don't know what that is, please ask me, because it's a blessing and a half to have in your home. So mega antioxidants and minerals going in that child to counteract what's being flushed out from the DMSA. Now, DMSA is chelation medication. So from that medication, you can have really negative effects, like really negative reactions is a better way to say it. Lani, happy as can be. She actually feels better on it. That is an answered prayer blessing, because I was really freaked out about doing that because it is hard on the body. And I'm like, I'm trying to make progress here. I'm not trying to hurt my kid, right? And so we eased into it very gently, and she has been responding magnificently to it. So that's a huge blessing. But just so you know, chelation is something you have to look into and decide if it's right for you and which way to do it. Of course, you need to have a urinalysis done first, right?
Guys, please be patient with us. I'm so glad that you're tuning in with us. We're at 51 minutes right now. We're going to be wrapping up.
I knew it was going to be long.
We're going to be wrapping up in less than 10 to open up some questions.
Yes.
So Brooke's going to hit on an ATEC score. If you have questions, jot them down. And if we don't get to your questions tonight, we'll definitely get to them tomorrow in the very near future.
And don't forget to share with your people that can benefit from this, because this is why we're doing this, to help educate on the things that we've learned. So, because I come across so many people that are like, what are you doing? I need to know. That's why we're doing this video. I get asked all the time, and people are so intrigued by it. So boom, we're breaking it down for you. So ATEC scoring is basically it's a quiz that you take. We take it about every 3 to 4 months. We answer questions in 4 different categories, I think, just on Lani's behaviors. And 180 is the top score, which is the most severe autism possible. The severest of the severe, 180. 0 is undetectable autism, because a lot of people with autism that improve their behaviors may always still have to do certain things to keep it that way, right? So 0 is undetectable. Like, the behaviors have totally gotten under control. You would never know they battle anything. Lani.
So when we tested 3 times, right? We did her initial test. We did a test after 4 months or 3 months.
Yeah, it's probably been 4 or 5 times now total.
I
don't know.
I know we jotted down 2 of them for scores from the time she started and the time I thought there was only 3, but anyway.
When we started doing all natural things, when we moved to Columbus and we started doing, I shouldn't say all natural, guys, we're not anti-pharmaceutical. Lani is actually on 2 different pharmaceuticals. Both are temporary, but it's where we're at, and we don't want to keep her on those if we can help it. So we're not anti-pharmaceutical, but we definitely believe in like natural stuff. So when we started implementing all of these things, right at the beginning, Lani scored, just like we said, right smack dab in the middle of the spectrum. She scored an 89. We giggled because we always called her middle of the spectrum. She was 1 point off from that. Today, Lani's most recent, which was about 2 months ago now, her most recent ATEC score was 39. So she literally dropped 50 points in about 2.5 years, 2 years, it's something like that, somewhere in that range. So that's how many behaviors have just fallen off. We don't even see anymore because of the things that we've done. And it's not any one thing. That's what I'm trying to express. Like, it is so intense. There's so many different things that we do, and we document, and we move on. This worked, this didn't work, you know, like, it's crazy. And then guess what? Something that didn't work last year now works this year. Like, it's hard. It's hard, but it's doable. We do it.
Yep.
Right? So
this is part of the reason why Brooke, you know, when we stumbled onto Young Living a couple of years ago, this is why she wants to do it full time, because there's so many different benefits that Young Living can provide with the oils and with supplements and with topical and digestive and, you know, the focus. It's just, you know, I'll let you hit on that some more, but that was a big reason why you decided to do what you're doing.
Yeah, again, I was going to go back to working a 9 to 5 during the day while Lani was in school. And when I realized the difference that this can make for people, and people need to know, because there's so much damage being done, and I believe God's tired of seeing his people sick. And I just felt such a pull, and I felt so led to do this full time. And it's such a blessing to be able to go and to help people and to be able to receive compensation for it so that I can go do it again tomorrow, right? Because otherwise I would have to go get a 9 to 5 and I wouldn't have time to do this stuff. So that's why I was so led into doing Young Living. But I want to make it clear, Young Living is only one part of it, right? Just like I said throughout the rest of this video, diet matters. What you're doing on a daily basis matters. Your activities matter. Your resources in your occupational therapy and your physical therapy and your speech pathology, It's the whole thing. Young Living is a big part of it for us because they help us to replace so much of the trash. And they're such high quality. They go to such extremes. So that's why I do what I do now. And so I love helping people get started on that kind of stuff. If you're wanting to get started on that kind of stuff, if you want to see, is it even a right fit for you? Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's literally what I do, and I love doing it. So we look at everybody's individual situation and we say, what here can help you? What would be a good fit for you and what maybe not, right? And then teaching you to go tell someone else, right? You'll have the information to tell your buddy that is in the boat that you used to be in, and you'll be able to help those people. So I love teaching people also to go and do what I do as well, which is just speaking this truth and coming up against the monsters that are, pharmaceutical companies and our healthcare and all of that stuff that sometimes just seems like sick care, right?
Yep.
It can be sad. And again, I'm appreciative of so much of it. There is a place for it. But we also know that we are up against some half-truths, right?
So,
my voice hurts from talking all night.
So I'll go over the closing points for a few, and then I'm sure you're going to hit on some demonstrations, or if you choose to do that, if we're going to answer questions. Guys,
I'll grab this stuff. Go ahead.
It's going to take me just a couple of seconds to go over these closing items. So if you want to, start with the questions if you have them, and I'll try to address them as quickly as possible. And if I need to elaborate, or if Brooke needs to elaborate, we can definitely do that tonight. I'm going to bed in a minute, but she can elaborate on some of them tonight. Or if there's questions specifically for me, or the daddy version, or the support for the husband, or the frustrations, or beating people up at Walmart that want to stare, please inbox me and we'll talk about it. Then closing, again, just to reiterate, what we have done is specifically for Lani on all the research and the doctors and the Young Living stuff and the advice and everything else. It's for Lani. This is going to be a different journey for everybody. We would love to share what we've done to help you discard or step or know what to do next in a certain situation. Number two, Brooke's grabbing some stuff right now. We can demonstrate what we use and why. And this is not a specific boost for Young Living. It's just something that we do every day, and it's definitely something to give you an idea about. This is going to be involving a daily routine with Ningxia Red, Super B, and supplements, and detox baths. It's always a big deal for Lani to get a detox bath because they go up there and they talk like a bunch of women back and forth and play and have fun. But the detox bath is helping Lani out. Of course, we're diffusing oil right now, but anyway, the big point and to kind of close it out is this. The journey is not over and won't be over for a long time. We're still in the journey.
I don't know if it ever will be.
We're still walking the walk and talking the talk, and we have learned a ton, and we plan on learning a ton more. We're excited about the progress that everybody as a team has made, which involves everywhere from Brooke to grandma to teachers to aides to doctors to nurses to Young Living people.
All of her team at school, amazing. Her friends at school. Oh my gosh, guys, teach your kids to work with the special needs kids, to have fun with them, to be friends with them. It's huge.
Hey Jeff, that's a good question. That's an excellent question. We're all a work in progress as Christians and as believers. So just simply pray that when we talk, that people are open-minded and want to get the advice or want to use our research. That's all. We don't need prayers. We're good. I mean, we always need prayers. I'm just saying.
I was going to say pray for resilience because it's tiring.
Yeah, it wears you out. I mean, child care. That's funny. Child care. But anyway, yeah, just pray that people will be open-minded and hear what we're saying, and hopefully that we can help make a difference in somebody else. Because it's not us that's making a difference. It's God working through us. So. Look, Lani's calling
you. Lani is literally calling me right now.
Anyway.
She is so cute.
We're still on a journey, and we'd love for anybody that is interested to walk with us, to talk with us, to give advice, to listen to advice. We're definitely up for that.
She sent me an email. What was it yesterday? It just said, ew. I'm like, she is so cute. I'm just going to show you guys real quick what I do because But I want you guys to remember that one size doesn't fit all, like he said a million times. So this is just some different things we do. We do frankincense on Lani, right on the crown of her head. Frankincense breaks the blood-brain barrier. It's extremely good neurological support. A lot of the focus blends, anything, I have to stay compliant. Anything that's neurological support, a lot of it has frankincense in it. So we do this on the crown of her head every day. This is Lani's blend. I just call it Focus. I have lavender, cedarwood, and vetiver in here. And I roll this across her forehead and temples. Stress Away is one of Lani's favorites, but everybody loves Stress Away. So we put this on her wrists. We put this in the diffuser. We use the heck out of Stress Away. It's just an amazing oil. I sleep with Stress Away every night, going in the diffuser. So those are just a few of the oils that we use. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of stuff. This is Lani's vitamin thing.
Real quick, just a second.
Yeah.
Guys, she's talking about diffusing this stuff. It's not overwhelming. It's not sissy. It's not girly. I love it myself. It's awesome.
It's therapeutic grade essential oils. Guys, don't get cheap oils. There's a reason they're cheap.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so here is Lani's morning. That's just the morning. Most of those are supplements. Ooh, run away, NAC. And then at night, she gets all these. So what I have here, guys, is fish oil. NAC is actually that's a supplement, or a sulfur supplement. So be careful with that if you have a genetic mutation that can't handle sulfur. But it helps Lani with some OCD type behaviors and that kind of thing. She's not real bad on that, but she has tiny tendencies. But it helps with some different things like that. Lani likes to have like her blanket over her head constantly. Like there's some sensory things that really helps with. What else does she take? Super B. A lot, like most people with autism go through, like their bodies just like, I don't even know how to say it, process B vitamins like it's nobody's business. They need major B vitamin supplements. So she takes Super B, which is an outstanding one. That's actually a Young Living supplement. Not all of these are Young Living, guys. So it's not about that. I'm not doing that. It's just a big part of what we do. So just being honest. What else does she take?
Ninja.
Ninja, yeah, but in here, she has magnesium. Lani takes a ton of magnesium that helps with her sound sensitivity. So she takes a lot of magnesium. That also has some digestive health benefits as well to keep things moving. That's important. That's very important.
Just to be regular.
What else? What else is in here? She has an anti-epileptic. That was the blue one you saw that looks like a medication because it's a medication.
What is that? The only medication she's on, right?
Yeah, well, she has the DMSA, which is the chelation right now. Mm-hmm. Again, guys, both of these are temporary. We don't plan on keeping her on these. And then, she's on a significant multivitamin as well. So she takes a bunch of those every day. We do this. I mentioned this earlier. This is the Ninja Red. You can see it's a puree. It's separated there. We love Ninja Red. So immune system support out the wazoo. Digestive system support out the wazoo. Neurological system support out the wazoo.
Every day.
Every day. And we put vitamin D3 drops in that. They're not Young Living either. So I get all these supplements from different places that I've done research on what works. We put D3 in that. Lani's D3 tends to fall. He mentioned detox baths. That's Epsom salts, baking soda, and lavender essential oil. We do those every other day. That really helps. Detox is a crucial part of autism. Crucial. I don't know why I couldn't say that. It's getting late.
C-R-U?
Crucial. I don't know.
What D3 is from Lisa?
What D3 do I use? I have an organic, all natural. Yeah, you want to grab that? I don't know the brand name. I actually vary. I actually get a couple different D3s. He's grabbing it for us, but it's just a tincture. And it's like citrus flavored. Spring Valley. It's not the cheapest one, but I try to be careful about obviously what kind of stuff we're using. So Spring Valley, yeah, it's natural citrus flavor, of course, and it just has sunflower seed oil in it. Here's the thing. This one works all right. We've used a few different ones, and we have to keep tabs on Lani's D3. It just falls. If we back off a D3 supplement, it just falls. Even in the middle of summer when she's out in the sun, it doesn't make any sense. It's just one of those things that we can't explain, and we just have to learn to roll with. So obviously, guys, you know that, no problem, Lisa. You guys know that we have, this is just some of what we do, obviously. Like, I'm not going to walk you around my whole house. I'll be happy to do that if you want to come over and actually see. I'll be happy to do that, but we have been talking a long time. My voice actually hurts because I was at a social event before this. And yeah, Troy's pulling out a probiotic right now, actually. Probiotics, guys. Huge probiotics. So we do kombucha, we do Life 9, which is a Young Living probiotic, very, very high quality probiotics. High quality matters. Man, I don't know if I can say that anymore. Quality, quality, quality. It's so important. So that said, I'm going to stop there because this is a long video. We knew it was going to be. Thank you guys for hanging in here with us. And if you guys have questions, now's the time. Hey, Dina. Covers over my head. Hey, Jeff, thanks for jumping on with us. It's always nice to hang out with you. And thank you for your prayers as well. I'm just going to scroll up here real quick. My common stress away stays on me at nightstand, and I've been using it every night thanks to Brooke. Sonia, I'm so glad you're loving those oils. Awesome. Luke, I'll hook you up. Let's get you some stress away. I hate to hear that you're stressed. Better to eat sugar than the artificials. Yeah, very true, Luke. For real. And you already talked to Sam?
Yep, Sam will get with me tomorrow.
All right. Living in the world is mostly bad for you. We already addressed that. Okay. Did the SCD help?
Yeah, I told Amber we'd get with her
okay.
As far as the SCD. I love the SCD. I dropped like 16, 17
yeah,
pounds.
We're all really healthy. And if you guys don't know, that's a specific...
carbohydrate?
I'm trying to talk so fast now because I feel like we're holding everyone. Specific carbohydrate diet. So it's no sugar, no grains, and you can only have specific kinds of carbohydrates, like ones that your body breaks down very easily. So we can't do potatoes and beans. You're allowed to implement certain kinds of beans after a while. It's no dairy, it's no gluten.
Number 1, you're never hungry. Number 2, it's time consuming. Number 3,
have to cook a lot.
It's a little bit expensive. Number 4, with us, guaranteed results. Just saying.
Are you talking about with weight?
With weight for us specifically, with Lani, you may want to elaborate on that SCD for her.
Yeah, we didn't have big results with Lani and SCD, and that was one of those times where we said, okay, so Lani's not so much digestive,
right? And
that's when we started looking at neurological. That's when we did the heavy metals testing, and we saw, okay, she's
got issues.
She's got issues. And so now we're working on that and seeing major results. So we can point to neurological a little bit more with Lani, but SCD is absolutely worth trying for sure. And it's very healthy. I would just say watch your carb intake if you're someone like me. I actually ended up kind of weak on that. Kind of is an understatement. I did not feel well, but I realized my carb intake was too low. Some people need carbs. That's okay. Let's see, 3 of our kids are vaccine injured to some degree, but they are too old now and not interested in the oils. Oh, Renee, well, I hope that they can kind of expand their horizons. Guys, it's so common to hear these vaccine injuries. If you think they're rare, I promise you they are not. Again, that's not our testimony. I'm not here to take sides one way or the other, but I will tell you, I think most everybody has basically conceded to... Some people have immune issues where they can't handle vaccines. Like, I think pretty much a general consensus, right, is that there are people that can't. The problem is we don't know that until they have an injury from it. And so it's very difficult to say who is safe to get that, whose immune system is solid and whose isn't. And that's where that genetic stuff comes into play. So it's a very, very touchy topic, very emotional topic. But we do personally know families that we trust, really, really good families that have devastating testimony when it comes to that. So,
Tracy, I'm going to address yours real quick. Has anyone you know or yourselves had success with getting a school on board, not using Lysol or bleach wipes and only thieves instead? If so, how? If not, we need to figure that out. Well, I'll give you a couple different things to do here. Number one, you're never going to get anywhere until you take the first step.
Right.
So I encourage you, and Brooke will encourage you, and you guys talk freaking all the time anyway. Have that crucial conversation with your teacher, number one, and follow the chain of command to the principal, to the school board, whatever the case may be. It may be something that you have to provide for Liam, especially for his well-being, and have the thieves there to clean his desktop and his work area, so forth and so on, and demand that, because of your beliefs and your concern with the ingredients in the cleaner, that you don't want him to be a partial to that. When you start living that as an example to the teacher and to the other students, moms are listening. Moms want to know, why is he different? Well, what do you got that I got? Let's do this a little bit more. So you have other people on your team. When you show that, even if you have to provide thieves wipes to the school for a little bit to let them know what the difference is and how it is effective, then just keep fighting the fight until you get what you want, because schools have to be open-minded on that. They don't want things in the classrooms to hurt their kids by any means. So go ahead.
And I think there's some progress made in that area, but there are also school districts that do not allow essential oils in at all. So I would imagine those same school districts are going to say, no, this is what we use. We don't do anything with natural stuff because there's no clinical studies on it. And that is out of our hands, because that's the way our government works. Our government does not play in all natural, guys. It's up to us to do that in our own homes. So it's just tough as far as that goes, but it can't hurt to ask. What did you do?
Push a button, sorry.
It can't hurt to ask and try to implement those things. And Troy's exactly right. Like, somebody has to get that ball rolling. So just ask.
Yep.
So if you guys have any more questions, now is the time. Literally, my throat hurts. I can talk, man.
Anyway,
you talk, because I need a rest.
I'm headed to bed. I've got to get up in 6 hours. So, guys, Tracy, because it's you, and I would probably do this for anybody else anyway, but because it's you specifically, if you want me to come up and help you fight that fight, I'd be more than happy to stand in your corner with you and Mike and Brooke and whoever
Tracy
else.
has already implemented some things. So she has given her her school some hand wash, like some thieves hand soap and that kind of thing, and got those chemicals out of there. So Tracy's already done a lot with that. But
let me tell you a quick story about somebody I know. When we were looking into Lani's neurological and other things for her school, Lani's classroom didn't have a smart board, and the schools, her doctors or whoever may have suggested that it's better for Lani to have hands-on and see bigger pictures and be able to interact with a smart board.
These kids are good with electronics and technology.
Yes, absolutely. And Brooke said she walked up to the teacher, which the teacher is amazing. We still love her with all of our heart, and she's up there and we're down here, but we still have a whole lot of respect for her and how she works. But Brooke took this to the teacher took it to the principal took it to the board took it to some sponsors. They bought a smart board for Lani's classroom specifically.
Actually,
go ahead.
I'm going to tweak that story a little bit because it's important for you guys to know. I went to the teacher when I found out all of the other classrooms had smart boards, and the kids that probably needed it the most, because that's how they learn, they just learn differently. When I found out they didn't have one, I went to the teacher and I said, do you want a smart board? And her response to me was, I would love a smart board. This was she's a brand new teacher. She had all the energy in the world. I'm sure she still does today. She's an excellent teacher. She didn't have the tools she needed. This is where funding comes into play, guys. So I asked her that. She said, I would love a smart board. I said, you're going to get a smart board. So I went to the PTO meeting and I waited for my turn. And then I brought it up and I said, my understanding is that the PTO has actually purchased these other smart boards for the other rooms Well, this room doesn't have one. And the PTO and the school staff was so amazing that they called me, gosh, what was it? Not even a month later. And they're so excited to tell me, we're going to surprise your teacher. We got all the funds for it. We're gonna surprise your daughter's teacher with a smart board. We want you to be a part of it. I came in, special occasion, and they presented her with a smart board, and she was crying. Everybody was crying. So somebody just has to take that first step. The people, the PTO, the school, they didn't realize. They didn't mean to leave that classroom out, but it took a parent saying, hey, would it be okay if we look at this situation? And then all of a sudden they were like, oh my gosh, yes, we would love to do that. We didn't know. So a lot of times they just need told.
Take that step, Trace.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I love that saying.
All right, so one more minute for any questions you guys have. If you're watching this on the playback, feel free to post your questions. Just give me a minute to get back to you.
Yeah, same side. Just get back with me tomorrow after your appointment, dude. I'd love to answer questions or help out. And it's not just one phone call or one text or one inbox message. I mean, if you need guidance, something more than happy to guide you and refer to her, and we can refer other places if we need to. So that's just is what it is. I'm passing it forward just like we're supposed to. Just like I encourage you to do whenever you learn. So I'm out. I'm going to bed, and I'm going to take care of the nuts and lock the doors and put my gun under my pillow and all that good stuff. So thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your time.
You don't have a gun under your pillow?
Shut up. Don't tell him that.
Our guns are stored safely and still accessible.
Couch!
He got on the couch again?
It's your dog.
Yeah, but he never lays on the couch. I think he's doing it for attention. He's mad he's not in the video. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And like I said before, feel free to share this video with anybody that can benefit from the information, that has been curious about this stuff. It really, truly is a journey, one thing at a time. And we love, love, love working with other families. And you know what? You may have stuff that you can share with us, too, that has been amazing, because we learn new stuff all the time. So we love connecting with other autism families. It's beneficial for everyone. So share this if you want. And I feel like I was going to say something else. What was I going to say, Pun?
I don't know. You're always talking, so I don't have any idea.
I know. I really just need to go rest my voice. My voice needs to go to sleep. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for jumping on. Do I have a therapy dog? No, we do not have a therapy dog. So Lani is a little bit funny with the dogs. The older she gets, the more she kind of interacts with them, but all in all, she's just kind of like the dogs are there. She just doesn't really connect with them. She doesn't like go out of her way to play with them or to pet them or anything. They're just kind of there. And every now and then I'll catch her petting them, or she'll hold out her hand and they'll kiss her. So she just doesn't get into it, so she's not really a good candidate for a therapy dog, but I do have some friends that have therapy dogs, and they're really, really amazing, especially for kids that have a lot of anxiety, meltdowns, OCD type stuff, really intense needs. A therapy dog can be amazing. But my dog's lower blood pressure, so that's pretty good too, right?
Dogs also poop in the grass.
Did you know that when you pet a dog, it lowers your blood pressure? I think it's like, how long do you have to pet them? 30 seconds or something? It's supposed to lower your blood pressure and slow your heart rate and stuff. That's pretty cool.
They raise my blood pressure when they get on the couch.
Yeah, probably. I love the pooches. I think they're super sweet. They're really good dogs. They're good dogs. All right, thank you, Lisa. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to bed. And thank you guys for jumping on. And I think that's it. So for now, to be continued, right? All right, guys, have a good night. Lisa's making fun of you. She said men. He's just jealous because I pet the dogs. All right, guys, have a good night. Thanks so much for jumping on. I hope this is helpful.